Oh boy, this is not going to end well whatsoever. So, hey everyone, this is Kevin the Entrepreneur. Welcome to my vlogging / media channel. If this is your first time here, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification. We upload videos on a weekly basis, not on a daily basis anymore, but on a weekly basis, and you will therefore want to be notified of new situations that come up, new news stories, especially things like these. I'm frankly amazed this is happening. I mean, I know studios have wanted to do something like this for a long time. Studios have long wanted to experiment with bringing movies straight to the consumer, selling them directly through digital means, and they want to do it because, hey, they get 100% of the money, they get, they don't want to share the cut with as much as possible. It's essentially trying to cut out the middleman, and yet that has never happened because they have a very good relationship with the theaters. It's always a little testy, but it's in balance. It's in balance because, hey, you know what? You give us the movies for a certain period of time, we show those movies, you get a lot of money, and then you make revenue from other means. And also, by putting movies in theaters, they protect their assets, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the virus that we can't talk about, because it has Clownfish TV called the Voldemort of YouTube, well, guess what? Because of that, we are now in this situation where Universal has decided that they are basically going to bypass the movie theater. Not completely. The way this is worded is that they are going to release movies day and date. It's going to be in theaters and streaming on the same day, and apparently Trolls World Tour, is going to be the first movie they do with this. This is not going to end well. This is going to be a disaster on so many levels, regardless how this ends up going. So let's look at this article. It's pretty simple. But with the spreading of the C virus forcing movie theaters to close, Comcast is breaking with tradition and making a number of new movies available to watch at home. Universal's Trolls World Tour, which, full disclosure, I have tickets for, will be the first movie. It will simultaneously debut online and in theaters on April 10th. Other films that are currently in theaters, like The Invisible Man, The Hunt, and Emma, will be available for a 48-hour rental as soon as Friday, with a suggested retail price of $19.99. Typically, movie studios wait 90 days for a film to run in theaters before putting it out at home viewing, but the company will be releasing new films online while they are still in cinemas. Notably, Universal has decided to implement this new policy for its low to mid-tier budget films. The budget for Trolls World Tour is half that figure Invisible Man was, around $7 million, and The Hunt was proposed for $14 million. Meanwhile, the release of the upcoming F9 was pushed from, it's been pushed next year. That costs a lot more money. That's about, $250 million to make. So Jeff Shell said, NBC Universal will continue to evaluate the environment as conditions evolve and will determine the best distribution strategy in each market when the current unique situation changes. Now, I don't know what's going on, right? I wonder how the theaters, do the theaters have anything to say about it? So far, I don't see the theaters saying what they think about this, but this is not, again, I cannot stress this enough, this will not end good. Because here's the thing, Universal, and I honestly thought Disney would be the first to do this, to be honest, Universal is screwing the theaters over. They are totally screwing the theaters over. Because what makes the theater experience special, aside from, the general environment, is that, hey, they have movies for a certain period of time to themselves. Do you want to know why you don't see too many Disney movies re-release, give real re-release anymore? It's because of DVDs and VHS. People bought them so many times that, hey, they own them. Why go to theater to watch them? Yeah, you have things like, we just saw The Color Purple, a one-night event thing, Turner Classic Movies, and yeah, that had 12 people there, so that's one way to get some butts in the seats for an off-kilter showtime on a random night. But for the most part, the movies being exclusive is the draw. If they're going to be available at home, then this is not so much a draw anymore. And I can tell you, when the movie theaters do reopen, and they will reopen, I mean, they're going to be hurt, and there's going to be a recovery period, don't get me wrong. But when the theaters reopen, they will screw Universal back in this situation. But here's the thing. It's not just that they're screwing the movie theaters. They are actually, I think, contributing to the problem at hand. Now, you might be asking why. Well, here's the thing. They're going to charge about $20 to stream this for 48 hours. That's way more than what you would normally pay for a 48-hour stream. Usually it's $4. So they're trying to take into account that these movies are new, that they're in theaters, and hey, you got to pay a little bit extra. But here's the thing: $20 is not that much more than $4 when you're factoring 5 people, like a family of 4 into it. $20 is a bargain. What's more, people are extremely cheap. Now, the whole point of this self-quarantine thing and streaming at home is like, hey, you don't invite people over, you keep your distance. We've had to cancel a lot of plans with friends. It's not fun, but that is what you do. Well, guess what happens when you do this thing? People still want to see new movies, and they're cheap, and they miss their friends, and someone says, hey, I'll rent Trolls World Tour for $20. Bring the kids over. Bring all the kids over. We'll all get together. We'll all spend like $1 on it. That's what's going to happen. It's not going to encourage people to stay in their homes. It's going to encourage mingling and socializing. Like, that's the whole point of the social distancing thing. You want to push people away. So not only are you screwing the movie theaters, and they are your biggest partner right now, the theaters are still what drives interest to the product on the streaming, on the DVD, on the Blu-ray, on the merchandise. I mean, just talk to people who work for Netflix. Do you know how many things Netflix releases? They release so much stuff that you never even notice is there, because it's so much harder to sell something on a streaming platform than if you put it in theaters and you get people paying for it and you have a little bit of word of mouth getting out there. So Universal is screwing the theaters, and they're not going to like that. They're going to screw them back, but then they are doing something that is going to encourage people to, mingle. Now, they might say this because this idea has been proposed before, where at one point they were going to stream movies in really rich people's homes for like $50 for like 24 hours. And they were experimenting with that, and I don't think it really went anywhere. At $50, I would probably encourage people to go more. They might be thinking, well, $20, maybe we can convince people to stream it at home, but not invite other people over. And who knows? Maybe they're right. Maybe that's the magic number. I don't know. I don't know. The other thing I want to know, honestly, is, are they violating an agreement? I know these are extreme circumstances. I know that this is unusual, but are they violating their contract? Like I said, we don't know what the theaters think about this. We don't have a statement from AMC, from Cinemark, from Regal. We don't have any of these statements. And yet, they're going ahead and doing it. So I wonder if there's going to be like a lawsuit, if there's going to be a breach. There's definitely going to be a breach of trust at this point. So I know everyone's hurting. But I wish the movie studios would do this. Hey, you know what? Maybe some of your mid-tier stuff, maybe that doesn't need to be in theaters anymore. Like, maybe, I know Emma already came out, but let's say, for example, Emma came out in 2 weeks. It's like, hey, you know what? Emma, it's not really a big release movie. We weren't going to make a lot of money in theaters anyway. Why don't we change that to a direct to streaming stuff? And we're going to hold on to our tentpole films for whenever this crisis passes, because I've seen Trolls, the first Trolls, in theaters in IMAX 3D. That is definitely a theater experience. It's not going to be as good as home. That is something people want to go see. It's something that parents are going to take their kids to see. Parents with kids buy a lot more popcorn than couples do. So the theaters are going to be upset. And I think they're going to make a lot less money. I think they're just going to encourage mingling at this point. I don't think there's anything extremely positive out there. So there's so much on the streaming platforms right now that we can catch up on. I wish the Hollywood studios would like, hey, let's find some of our smaller tier films. We'll sell those. Otherwise, we just have to wait it out like everyone else. It's so frustrating because this has only been going on in full effect for like a few days, and it's just going to get worse. And it's like, what's this going to look like in like 2 weeks? Like, it already feels like this has been going on forever, like way too long. And everyone's just, don't... Okay, I have to pause for a second here, because I do feel like this is like burning down the farmhouse. This is like, hey, you found a cockroach in the barn, so you decide to burn the barn down. Like, no, look, yeah, there's a cockroach there, and yeah, it will spread, and yeah, there'll be a lot of them, and yeah, you're going to have to fight them hard before they go away, but don't burn down the barn. The barn in this case is the relationship with the movie theaters, and heck, even people's expectations of movies. Because once you do this, people are going to go like, hey, why would I go to the theater? Why can't I just release it and stream it? I'll rent it for $20 so we can have all the buddies over. Don't give people a reason to do this. Don't give them a reason to do this. But anyway, that's where we're going to end this one. I'd like to know, what do you think? Do you agree that this is a bad idea, or does this actually sound like a good idea? I don't know if I'm going to see Trolls, by the way, at this point. I would much rather they delay the movie than do this, but we'll have to see. Anyway, I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.